Hello everyone, my name is Rushabh and welcome to our presentation for Spring 2. Our project name is Fact Finder and our team name is Justice League. Next slide. So before moving on to our presentation, I'll give you the gist of what we are presenting. First, we will talk about the improvements made from the professor's feedback. Then we will show our minimal viable product, which is our product which user will be using. Then we will talk about architecture diagram and sequence diagram, which contains the flowchart of how the application is working. Then we have a product backlog, which means that what are the things that has to be completed for completing the product. After which we have a Spring 2 backlog, the things which are not being completed in this Spring 2. Next, we have metrics, which will have burn down charts and velocity. After which we have a retrospective, which covers that in Spring 2, what are the things that gone well and what are the things that didn't go well and how it can be improved. And then we have stories for the Sprint 3 and we have our live application demo. Next slide. So in our team, there are 8 members. Suraj Salukhe is our quality analyst and developer. Manthan Kale is a scrum master and developer. Kavita Kamtekar is a full stack developer. Saurabh Chaudhary is product manager and developer. Gayatri Kulkarni is developer. Maheshwari Vidyadharani is the developer. Sai Kumar Tata is developer and designer. And me is a developer and designer. Next slide. So improvements made from the professor's feedback. So we have now GitHub links which were missing. So we have added that. We have removed unwanted data and the retrospective slides which were missing. We have added that. We have updated our team working agreement and then we have updated our project description and problem statement. Next slide will be explained by Maheshwari. Thank you.
Project description. Fact Finder is a web application that offers a reliable solution to combat misinformation by accurately identifying fake news articles and providing concise summaries of news content. It is for all the media consumers who want to read news content without being misled by misinformation. The Fact Finder app is a platform that provides tools to identify fake news by analyzing news articles using machine learning and deep learning algorithms. It also provides valuable insights on the media consumption and summaries. Unlike believing any information on the internet, our application verifies the authenticity of news articles. The key benefits of Fact Finder are ensuring the authenticity of information, that is, users develop a better understanding of news credibility and learn to distinguish between authentic and fake news articles. It saves valuable time by generating summaries of the articles while ensuring they grasp the key points of each article. It also contributes to the fight against misinformation, especially in today's digital era where misinformation is widely spread. Next slide, please. Team working agreement. The main purpose uh, is for a completion of a collaborative project and foster a positive working environment for all the team members. The team regularly participated in Zoom meetings, and each and every team member actively shared their ideas, engaging in discussions and providing updates on individual work progress. And the workload will be equitably divided among team members with equal responsibilities assigned to ensure a balanced workload. Next slide, please. In personas, we have Maria, who is a 35-year-old community activist working on social justice issues. The role of misinformation in shaping public opinion and false narrative may undermine her advocacy efforts. So her goal is to empower her community with reliable information and uh, and bring social justice causes. Next slide, please. And here we have David, who is a 38-year-old small business owner whose business heavily relies on online presence for customers' engagement. He's deeply concerned about a potential misinformation impacting the reputation of his business. So his goal is to safeguard his business reputation by using the web application. Next slide, please. Here we have Michelle, who is a 31-year-old fitness trainer and a health enthusiast who frequently relies on online health-related information. So his primary goal is to maintain a healthy lifestyle and share accurate health advice with her followers without any misinformation. And my friend Saurabh will continue next slide.
The technology we are using for our project is so we are making a dynamic web apps. So for the front end we are using JavaScript. It is an ideal scripting language to work on. And for framework we are using the Flask. So Flask is a Python based framework. So so as the user want to know the user is um, feeding the news to our to the front end, and that then it will go to the back end, which we are working on Python language, and Flask will transfer that the request to the front end. So for the backend, we are using Python, as we are using machine learning models. So in Python, there is already so many libraries is there, like scikit-learn is there. And for deep learning, we will be using TensorFlow. So Python is ideal language for backend. And for database, we are using NoSQL, as we have this feature called the user can check its history. So it will be easy to store that the history data in a new NoSQL format. Next slide. Yeah, so as I told earlier, the algorithm we are using, it's a machine learning algorithm, especially scikit-learn's library. And in scikit-learn library, we are using the logistic regression. And I mean, it's a supervised learning algorithm for classification. So it will classify the news, the fake and the real one. And second algorithm will be using the k-nearest neighbor, which is an instance-based non-parametric algorithm, which is also for the classification. And third one, we are using the decision tree. Same, it's a supervised learning algorithm for classification. And for deep learning, we are using TensorFlow. So in TensorFlow, we are using the recurrent neural network because this type of neural network can easily handle the large state sentence, and it is ideal to process the for the NLP. Next slide. So here we added some screenshots of our backend algorithms. So all the necessaries library we imported, and here we made a function called clean and lower. So what it does, it clean the input data, it remove all the white spaces, and convert all the data into a lower, um, and it return the cleaned text. Next slide. So after cleaning like here you can see the content. We apply our algorithm to the input data, and that can clean the data, and then we can train our model. We can split our total data into test data and the training data set. So here we use 75% for training and 25% for testing. And we use the logistic regression model. And here you can see the accuracy of our model is 98%. Next slide. Yeah. So here you can see F1 score, it's near to 1, and the precision of our logistic model is like 0.98%. Accuracy, I already told that near to 99%, so it's having a good result. Next slide. Yeah, so we are using Flask framework to create the REST API. As I mentioned earlier, that it's not a static web page; it's a dynamic web app we are creating. And our backend language is Python, and Flask is ideal for doing such things. So here we created like in front end, when a user paste the news and then push that button, so that HTTP post request directly go to the backend, and then that request will be so here we created a here we created let me see. So here we created two methods. So first we'll save the news, and then it will return that result. And the second method we are using is prediction. So that will take that news like sentence in input form, and then it can return whether the news is fake or real. Next slide will be presenting by Sai. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Saurabh. Coming to the architecture point, the above information or the UI part, that is the user information and related news information, history part, and some other features. And coming to the backend part, whether it will take the information of fake news and the true news. Data is collecting from the two sources. One is user information and news information, which is coming from the website information. The data goes through the pre-processing stage, where it is formatting the further analysis. Next, the data is split into two categories. So one is true news and fake news, that will be shown in the end of the part. And natural language processing is applied to the data. It is coming from the news information, which is presented in the UI part. Information extracted follows from the NLP. These steps involves identifying the key pointing and details the texting data. After that, it going to the model likely uses algorithm to find patterns in the data or from the different data taken from the fake news or true news. Finally, the model is used to making decision about a new article. If an article exhibits the pattern of the fake news or true news, based on the training model, the model will classify it in the news information. At the end, it is shown as which I said before, true information or fake information. And next slide, please. Earlier, which I said, the architecture, the same way the sequential is shown in the user information and fact the verification. In the front end part, the first of all is the user authentication part. After that, uploading the news. Uploading news, it is go to the information to the fact verification. It will check the based on the NLP algorithm, and based on that, it take the decision making whether it is a true or fake, and it will get a response which Saurabh said, which is integrated the API part. It will get a response, and it will show the history part also. It will be shown in the user interface only. And next slide. Yeah, this is the entity diagram. Here we are using four database, four connectivities for the first login session. Login session is email ID and password, which user needs login. Login needs a email ID for the data. We need a username and the email password. We are taking only 3 related information. After that, it checking the information. It will show a history related, that is a date, news, real or fake. Those information also shown in the front end. The next slide. And we have a product backlog. So based on that, as a user, it will be identifications is also required. That's why we have included the authentication part. And in front end, we optimizing the back end technical stuff, and homepage is also some technical issues are there. So it is pushing some MongoDB queries also. As a developer side is also some technical things are there to ensure the backend functionalities to optimize the new techniques. Next slide. Oh, we have a different role. So based on that, we have a splitted work. So each work has defined different part. One is the front end part, and front end part is a responsive, or whether it is working on the desktop side, whether it is working on the mobile side, is also checking. That one is waiting as a data analyst. Neural network model is also pending, and manage the information security. Security is more important, so that we need to integrate it in. History part is also one of the important feature in our website. And next. Yeah, for the sprint, my friend is going to explain.
Yeah, thank you, Sai. So I'll be covering the Sprint 2 backlog. So we have stories and acceptance criteria here, test cases, stories which are completed in Sprint 2 and like which are like not completed. Okay, so like starting with the stories which we created for Sprint 2, like the first one, it consists of the login page, and like acceptance criteria consist of different scenarios which can be done on the login page, like if the password is blank or the email address is incorrect. So next we have a story for the locked account, like if user is trying to log in with many unsuccessful attempts, like if he is putting password wrong or like user ID wrong, like we can block his account and like we can reset it later. Next goes to the registration page, like a user should be able to successfully register using email address and his personal information, and like while registering, email address should be valid, like with the @ symbol or with proper designation. Next we have like if the user want to view any previous search and like track history, we have one scenario in acceptance criteria on it. And then if the user want to learn more about the application and its creators to understand its purpose, like we have about button, like which should be functional, and we are yet to add our information in it. So like the button is functional, but like we have not added the required information. So next, the user wants to easily find and access the contact information to reach out the support and inquiries. So like we are creating those things. Like we'll be creating a support page and like the email addresses which user can reach out to. Next, we have test cases for Sprint 2. So like the first few test cases include the login page, such as the successful login, like invalid username, invalid password, if both the fields are blank or the account is locked. So we have objective for each test case and like test script, the steps to follow to test the page. Okay, next we have a registration page test cases. Like if the login is successful, user should be able to reach the home page, and if it is invalid, something is wrong, like the proper error message should be displayed on the screen. Next, like if the user is already registered, like we should not allow the same user to register with the same email address, like verifying the integrity of the system. Nothing should be duplicated. And then validating the news verification process. So we have this test case, like we have created a text box in which user can post words between 50 to 500 words, and like user can click on verify button to check whether the news is fake or true. Like we are yet to connect it with the backend, so like we are currently working on this. And then we have history display, like which user has if user wants to check his history, the proper history page should be displayed. And then we have few tabs in our website, such as about us, contact page. So like those should be proper functioning. So we did testing on those things, like buttons are working. So like we did few testing on backend also, like machine learning model accuracy. So we, as Saurabh said, like we got the 98% accuracy on machine learning model. Then like confusion matrix also we got the 90% accuracy. And like our F1 score was like near to 1, and we are still improving on it. And like stories completed. So like these were the stories which we planned for the Sprint 2, and we were able to complete. It mainly consists of the creation of UI and like a backend algorithm. Also, we like added stories which are related to like presentation completion and like documentation. So like those were also done. And like these were the stories which are still backlog, so we'll be continuing it to the sprint 3, such as like we are yet to connect front end with the back end. The history functionality is like not yet done, and the back end testing, like complete testing, is still pending for the sprint 3. So next will be continued by my friend Gayatri.
Thank you, Suraj. So matrices. So next slide, please. Previous slide. Hello.
Yeah, Gayatri.
Previous slide, please.
Like you explained burn down chart. I'm on burn down chart.
Next slide, Shubhi.
Okay.
Thank you. So team velocity. So the team velocity is completed committed ratio that compares how much work team done in a certain time frame sprint versus how much work team actually did. that means completed. So we have completed, we have taken 23 stories from that, could able to manage 18 stories, and the ratio of completed versus committed ratio is 82.1%. Next slide. Next slide, please.
Kavita will be explaining this.
Yeah, thank you. So this slide is about a minimal valuable product of FactFinder. So in this, MVP, we have discussed some few points. So first, user will able to register before login in the FactFinder website, and then user will also able to check news without having an account in FactFinder. So unless he or she wants to check a new news history, then user can register with a few first name, last name, email ID, and password. And then the user should able to click on the submit button to get registered successfully. Then once the user is registered, the user can log in with email ID and password. And we have also a homepage tab where we have added a short video which will just explain about what the fake news is about, is it means. And then there is verify news tab, which will navigate to the text bar or text box where we will able to uh, upload or enter a text or a news that will tell us whether the news is fake or real. Then the user will check then the to check whether the news is real or fake, the user should click on the verify news button. Then the system will generate response based on this on our ML model. Then there is an about us tab which we have added, which will also give us explanation about the website, what it does and how it works. Can you move to the next slide? Okay, so these are the screenshot of our FactFinder website. So this is the home tab, which has a animated short video which explains about what the fake news is about and how it can mislead us with the false information. Then please go to the next slide. Okay, so this tab is about verify news tab. So in this, there is a text area before verify news where we can enter the text or the news. So just check whether the news is false or whether the news is real or fake. We have to click on verify news tab, verify news button. Yeah, can you go to the next slide? Okay, so this is about us tab. So in this, we are explaining about our purpose of the FactFinder with the three main points, that is accuracy, integrity, and fairness. This will explain about what the FactFinder is and how we are achieving this by implementing the FactFinder. Then there is a contact tab. Can you go to the next slide? Okay, this is a registration form. So this is a registration form where the user will able to register. And then can you go to the next slide? Okay, once the user is registered, then he can navigate to the login form where user can log in and go to the search history tab, and we're able to see how many user has searched the news or whether he wants to take a record of how many news he wants to go through. Okay, the next slides will be explained by my teammate Manthan.
Thank you, Kavita. So basically, we concluded everything that we saw above in Sprint 2. And then we take a look back in the retrospective for what's been done so far and what can be improved, what went well, and what actions do we need to perform for our next sprint. So in our retrospective, what did go well were we made a lot of progress on each user stories. We were able to create the product backlog and we were able to knock out stories, divide the work within the team, and were able to complete a lot of UI tasks as well. Also, on the back end, the classification model is working now. So that was a good achievement by the team. It was a team effort, and they were able to achieve the classification model to be working as expected. We did have a lot of team meetings. The team was able to coordinate, come up with different ideas, project their ideas, and then implement them as well. The development team collaboration was also pretty extensive, and they worked as needed, even more than what our scheduled team meetings were. They were able to get together and work on it. They also encouraged a lot of new ideas. Moving on to what can be improved, we felt that our sprint planning was not enough. Some of the stories that we had were not there in the backlog when we expected them. They were later added as we worked on them. So not everything was refined properly at first, but then later on we got a hold of them. And then everyone should be on the same page. We discussed that everyone needs to be available for the team and be able to contribute. At least if not contribute, we can engage and make sure we are all on the same page. So that the whole team knows what's the status of the project, what progress we've made so far, and what improvements can we make. One thing we lacked was the documentation. We did not have enough documentation until now, but that's what we can improve in our next sprints. So we'll create more documentation. We'll try to document more information in the user stories. And also, as Sprint 3 requires, we need to complete our technical documentation as well. So the action items we concluded for our Sprint 3 that we need to meet more frequently as we are progressing towards the second half of our project. So we have to meet more often, show more development, show more progress on our project in our team coordination as well. We do need to start working on our backend connectivity. So the front end and the backend connectivity is still pending. So we are working on that as well. We need to make sure we keep track of all the deadlines as we have story points for the user stories. We need to make sure all our stories are completed as we had a 82% completion rate for sprint 2. We'll try to achieve 100% for sprint 3. And then we need to focus on our web deployment as well. As we are progressing, everything is in our local right now. So we'll target to basically deploy the website, deploy the APIs, and make sure it's all out there. And also, as we discussed what can be improved, we also need to make sure everyone is attending the team meetings and are all on the same page. So that's how we concluded our sprint 2. And we can move on to the next slide. So for sprint 3, we have user stories that we picked up from backlog. And this is what our velocity looks like currently. So we have multiple stories which will be assigned to everyone according to what their availability and also their skills. So we have the front end, back end connection. We need to show the history functionality on homepage, back end testing, implementation of the neural network model, user DB, history database, training data for the model, any more UI improvements that we have, and also the testing for homepage and the rest of the testing as well. Moving on to the next slide. So here we have a short video of our live application, which we can take a look at. So we can play that.
Can you unmute yourself?
Suraj, I think you might need to unmute yourself.
Yes.
I'm able to hear him.
The audio is missing.
So basically here, as my teammate Rishabh explained, this is basically a live demo. We'll also upload a separate video of this demo as well. So basically he explained what the different tabs look like and what the application does. So if a user comes on our website and they need to know more about it, and if they have any confusion of what the website does, we do have this demo where they can refer to and see what the website is all about. Moving on to the next slide. Here is our GitHub link. So we included that and we can, there's the wiki page with all the information that we have, our presentation slides, videos, and all the information we have for our Fact Finder website. Moving on. Thank you so much. So with this, we can conclude our deliverable 2. And thank you all. Thank you. So we'll conclude the presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you,
Thank
guys.
you.
Thank you, guys.